or killed very easily with
guys?
that SUV traveling at
Anybody
these speeds.
there?
We've seen well over 60 miles an hour right through residential areas, and
Who's
you
the
can
first
tell
in the
just
chat?
by watching here the suspect is very erratic, but staying in the same area. Why that would be, it's unclear. Suspect could live in this area. We just don't know. It's hard to guess those types of situations. Complete speculation there. But certainly the suspect is desperate to get away and is willing to drive erratically and dangerously at high rates of speed. But he has been staying in this one area in Van Nuys, basically off of Van Owen and Kester, right next to the hospital here. I think he just crossed once again back on Van Owen. We've seen this 3 or 4 times. The pursuit's been going on for about 20 minutes or so, we believe. Exactly how they identified this suspect as a stolen vehicle suspect in this car is unclear, if they were tracking him possibly, or if they just got a call. But we don't believe that vehicle is stolen. That's the initial information that we have. Now, that can change lots of times, but the initial information that we have, they believe it's a stolen vehicle suspect. Suspect stole another vehicle, not this one, but the suspect they believe may be armed. So extremely dangerous.
What's up, everybody? Help me with the like button.
Second
channel, baby.
Community
milk
here
clips
in Van Nuys with the erratic driving and the speeds the suspect has been driving at.
What's up, everybody? Red Base, Chiefs, Ellen, Cooper, Yoper, Blue. Trying to launch it on everywhere else so people know I'm live. I know I'm live.
Hey, Marcel, did you bring a water? I forgot mine.
Marcel. Going on the highway, looking for adventure.
So we are continuing to follow a high-speed pursuit in the Van Nuys area. That vehicle you see right there didn't come back stolen, but it came back as the suspect driving it, being a stolen vehicle suspect. And boy, it looked pretty erratic in there to me. Did you see that, Marcel? Looks like the suspect was trying to peek out up through the window to see if he could see the helicopter. Now, the LAPD helicopter is overhead. It looks like they've gone on surveillance mode as far as the tracking him or the suspect on the ground is concerned, and they're just doing it from the air. So with that LAPD helicopter way below us, the suspect may have been trying to get a look at the LAPD helicopter to see if he was still being followed. Certainly it's extremely difficult, if not impossible, to get away from the helicopter, especially on a clear day. Sometimes it's foggy and we can't fly. That can happen. But the weather conditions are fine today, and in this area we can continue to fly, even though if it goes further east, we can have some airspace restrictions with Burbank Airport and some of their scheduled flights into and out of Burbank. Right now, we're back on Kittredge, headed westbound, back towards the 405, if you will, if it goes on for a long period of time. But the suspect certainly staying in this one area. It wouldn't surprise me if we start seeing LAPD units on some of the corners. And you can see how dangerous that is. We had a lot of people on the curb there. We had the suspect traveling in probably what's posted as a 35-mile-an-hour speed zone, well above 60 miles an hour. And boy, somebody comes out riding their bike into the street, gets hit by this vehicle. They could very easily be killed. And I think that's one of the reasons they're not right behind this suspect. They don't have patrol cars right behind this individual. It's because they can see him from the air. They have the helicopter overhead, and they really don't want to do anything at this hour and in this area, in this community, to push the suspect to drive even more erratically and make this pursuit even more dangerous. It looks like the...
What happened? What happened? Let me check out their YouTube page. See, this is why I don't do it on the main page anymore.
I'm Colleen Sullivan live in the ABC 7 studio. Happening right now. 2 people are dead after they were shot inside an upscale home in Encino. We are there live. Plus some mild summer temperatures, what you can expect for the middle of the work week. And Emmy nominations, they are out. See if your favorite...
The YouTube page has it. He's
have
going.
to make
He's still
sure
going, baby.
it's 30 miles an hour
Have
or
faith.
below. I believe that's the policy for the LAPD. And you also have to make sure if you do that, you're not in an area that the vehicle could jump up onto a curb and hurt someone. So at this point in time, though, that could be one of the strategies they will use. Try and get officers in some of these street corners and then have them hide behind another vehicle or a tree. And as the vehicle comes out around the corner, throw out the spike strip and see if you can't get a couple of flats. So right now, once again, if you didn't hear me earlier, it's a stolen vehicle suspect. Not a stolen vehicle, but the suspect wanted has stolen another vehicle, and they do believe that suspect is armed. So that really does ratchet things up quite a bit when you've got an individual they believe is armed. But boy, they are right behind them now into oncoming traffic, into this intersection. Fortunately, it was a green, making a left turn, now on Kester once again with an LAPD patrol car right behind, going into an alleyway. This is Archwood, and there are several vehicles in the same area. It may come up on more LAPD officers down this street. Their radio calls go out. They know exactly where he's at. There must be 30 or 40 patrol cars in this area already, as well as a helicopter overhead. But these are the things that are so dangerous. We're in a residential neighborhood. You just sort of quiver, if there's a child riding a bike or playing out in this area, they could be struck or killed. They are right behind them, though. They're not backing off with a patrol car on the ground. We're back on Van Owen. And the suspect appears to just be going around in circles now in this area. No rhyme or reason to where he's headed. He looks pretty indecisive coming up on some of these intersections, but willing to put himself in harm's way and others into oncoming traffic and even running red lights at times. We've got a couple of close calls, but I have not seen that the vehicle has struck any other cars. Copy that. All right, copy. Great job so far. Very good. Thank you. Yeah, I know it's not easy. What's the speed on that, huh? Okay. You're going to have to slow down for that. You got a speed tracker?
Hauling ass, desperate. Man. See Lola.
Yeah, there's no question about that. The suspect is extremely desperate, trying to get away at all costs, even driving into oncoming traffic, backing up into officers, and almost ramming a patrol car to get away when he drove down a cul-de-sac. We've seen speeds as high as 80 miles an hour on some of the surface streets, and the suspect has been in basically the same area for the last 20 or 30 minutes or so, turning off of Van Owen onto Kester, made that turn maybe 6 or 7 times since we've been following it. Now, LAPD did have a patrol car right behind. We understand they did approve the pit maneuver, but for that to happen, the suspect's going to have to be in an area where the vehicle is really slowed down. You can't do the pit maneuver, hit the vehicle from behind when the suspect's traveling at speeds 60, 70, 80 miles an hour. I believe the limit's around 30, and we do see now that the LAPD patrol cars were right behind this vehicle early. Limits around 30, and we do see now that the LAPD patrol cars were right behind this vehicle earlier, Colleen. They have pulled off. Now they have an LAPD helicopter overhead. It's interesting that the suspect has been staying in the same area, probably a 10-block radius here in the Van Nuys area this entire time. That allows LAPD officers to deploy, and it wouldn't surprise me if they try a spike strip soon. We understand the original want on this suspect is that this individual, a man, is wanted for stealing a vehicle, but not this one. We believe there are Idaho plates on this car. They also believe that the suspect is armed. So it really does change the dynamic when you have all those criteria, and then you have a suspect so desperate to get away that they're driving as fast as 80 miles an hour in probably a posted 30-mile-an-hour zone.
Scott, you said it correctly, too. We are in summertime. The streets, they're not as crowded as they might be if kids were in class. But again, we're morning commute times. You are seeing this driver take such extreme measures to get away from police. Again, we did see the LAPD so close behind this driver, but then it does appear that they have backed off. And you can see why, Scott, because the LAPD, they really have to answer if somebody does get hurt in this pursuit. But again, if they think that this person is armed and dangerous, they certainly cannot let this person go.
Yeah, it's sort of a catch-22, Colleen. It really is. You want to be right behind him with a patrol car, just in case the suspect, in this case, we understand there's a victim of some sort who's at the hospital. I don't quite know the dynamic there, but there's a victim, we understand, at the hospital. We don't know their condition. But in a situation like this, they'd love to have a patrol car right behind this vehicle. They believe this individual is armed so that if the individual does foot bail, get out and run, at least they can surround him immediately with officers, set up a perimeter, and try and get him into custody. In a situation like this, when the suspect's driving this erratically, it's very difficult because the closer they get behind the suspect with the patrol cars, the more erratic the suspect drives. Already driving extremely dangerously into oncoming traffic, almost ramming a patrol car, going up onto curbs, backing up into traffic, those types of things. And so they've backed off for the moment. As you mentioned, and I mentioned earlier, it's just that time of day with summer and kids out a little after 10. You have a lot of people out on these streets, and so it just makes it that much more dangerous, that much more chilling. We've seen so many of these types of incidences just like this, and people have gotten hurt or killed. We're on Heartland now. It looks to me, I'm not sure if this is a cul-de-sac as well. No, it looks like there's a turn before that. So one thing, Colleen, because the suspect has stayed in this general vicinity, I believe they may be able to get a lot of officers in some of these intersections and maybe throw out a spike strip. At least that would slow the driver down, slow the suspect down. Yeah,
but it's so hard to predict. Even despite this person being in the same vicinity, as you just said, it's very hard to predict which turns they're going to make because they're driving in all these different neighborhoods. It's not as though they're doing a square. They're taking, Kester is one of those busy streets. Of course, I think about the schools in this area, and I think about how lucky a lot of these parents have already dropped their kids off to summer school. Look at passing right in front of that fire engine. But again, this driver is taking extreme risks, going through intersections, disregarding any rules of the road here right now, going on the opposite side. It makes me very concerned. The only saving grace in a weird way is that obviously the police helicopters, our helicopters overhead, this community hears there is activity, and many times when you hear activity, you know you need to stay inside. So again, and you never want this person to jump out, bail if they might be armed. Oh, goodness gracious. See, this person takes such extreme risks just to get away. Again, you don't want them to necessarily do a foot bail either, Scott, because you don't want them running through a neighborhood if they are armed.
Yeah, there's no question about that, although I think more than likely they prefer the suspect out of that vehicle because there's just so much danger at these types of speeds around this area, crosswalk traffic, driving so erratically, although, as you mentioned, you don't want someone, if he does have a weapon, out in a neighborhood, in a perimeter with that gun. But in this situation, I mean, everybody in this area is at risk. People walking on the sidewalk, people driving their cars. As I mentioned, though, I've seen the turn from Vano into Kester maybe 6 or 7 times. And that's what believes me to think if the suspect continues in that area, on those streets, eventually they could try a spike strip. I know they did approve the pit maneuver, but it's extremely difficult to do a pit maneuver when the suspect is driving at this rate of speed, excuse me, and when there's so much traffic around. You can't really do a pit maneuver when you have opposite direction traffic. If the vehicle spins around and goes into traffic, then it sort of tops. It's like the LAPD sort of, in a way, almost caused the accident. So they don't want...
He could be hoping... Maybe because I think, I don't know if this guy's a professional, auto theft, like stealing cars and shit. But from what I've seen with some of these chases, the more erratic you drive, the cops will back off. And so that might actually encourage these guys to drive even crazier in hopes that they'll get away because sometimes they call off the chase. And so this person is very desperate to get away.
You know, these residents, they fight for people to slow down, not drive fast in their neighborhoods. Anybody knows when they've tried to get a speed bump approved for their neighborhood, it takes a lot of work. So it's helping them with this driver, at least slowing down this driver's speed. And again, it's very hard to figure out. We are still getting details. So it's sort of a drip, drip, drip of details that we get in. But of course, we know this is someone who has stolen a vehicle, not necessarily this vehicle, Scott. So that's where the confusion might be happening. Is this their vehicle with out-of-state license plates? Who is the victim? What led up to the person stealing a car and this victim in the hospital? There's quite a few pieces to this puzzle that we're trying to answer ourselves.
Yeah, there's a lot of details we don't have. We're piecing it together as best we can. We have seen from time to time, though, that the suspect appears to be agitated, really moving around a lot inside the vehicle, looking up for a moment, trying to see the LAPD helicopter. We saw that on multiple occasions. We're back off of Van Owen onto Cedros now, back through this residential area. But they do have the LAPD helicopter overhead. The suspect's not going to get away, but you know, this is just so dangerous, and the speeds at which the suspect is traveling just sort of, you know, exemplifies that. It's just really scary to see this out on these roadways. There was a point where it was almost over. The suspect went down a street into a cul-de-sac. There was 3 or 4 patrol cars that were getting set up to box the suspect in, but really they don't want to get right in front of them. They don't want to get rammed, and they didn't have time to box them in and then get out of their vehicles. If they had, they could have pinned them in that cul-de-sac. But right now, what you're seeing is the suspect is traveling through the same neighborhood in Van Nuys, still erratically at high speeds. Now, we don't really have much on the information about the victim.
Right.
We have a report of a victim, and then we have sort of the pieces, as you mentioned, but we don't know. We know the victim is at the hospital. So, cannot clarify?
What?
All right, so I'm talking to Jay there, Colleen, and he's giving me some information he picks up. I guess maybe even the LAPD doesn't have the whole story yet. So
nobody knows.
These things are extremely dynamic. We don't know.
Maybe it's got the Epstein files.
Hospital, so obviously they were
Find
injured.
this man.
We believe only one person inside that vehicle, from what we've been able to tell, just the driver. But you never know, Colleen.
Right.
You know, there could be somebody in the back seat. They could have kidnapped someone. I mean, that's what makes police work so difficult. Boy,
right
look at
here.
this.
Look at that.
Yeah.
And you're talking about those tinted windows, Scott. I've said it. Ooh, look at this. This person
he's
is
all
trying
over
to
the
get
place.
away.
This guy's nuts.
There's
Look at this
obviously a
shit.
reason.
Oh, shit.
When someone is taking
my
such
sound.
extreme risks, there's a reason they do not want to be pulled over. But again, you're just talking about those tinted windows. I actually was pulled over years ago because my windows were too tinted on my car, and I thought, now I see why.
That's dangerous, though, too.
They don't. There's no really routine traffic stop, and when a police officer or a law enforcement official cannot see inside the vehicle, they're putting their lives at risk each time they're pulling over someone for what would seem like a routine traffic stop. So again, we can't see anybody inside the back seat or in the hatchback part of this car, but we can see that the driver's passenger seat, that seems to be empty. And we did see the driver fidgeting around, driving erratically, and not only fidgeting around, not completely keeping their both hands on the steering wheel. So this person wants to get away. There's no doubt about it. How the police will handle this, because it's such a heavily populated residential area. And, you know, it's kind of incredible that that driver picked the one street that's a cul-de-sac, because you and I know these neighborhoods. There are so many through streets to get to these main thoroughfares in Van Nuys, because it's also a bustling business sort of city as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, there's industry in here. There's a lot of residential. I mean, that's what makes it so dynamic, if you will. And we've seen a technique or a strategy by the police a couple different times to get a patrol car right up behind the suspect. So obviously they're watching this. They watch our feeds. They watch the feed that they get from their own helicopter. They hear the radio calls. They get all the information. And they have to decide, a supervisor has to decide, hey, you know, go ahead and get on this guy. Or they have to decide, no, just let the helicopter track him. And at least for now, it looks like they're just allowing the helicopter to track him. What's interesting is, though, even when the patrol cars were right behind the suspect drove in the same manner. It didn't appear that when the patrol cars backed off, the suspect slowed down or didn't start going into oncoming.
Let's see if Stu's talking.
Somebody's saying. So at any rate, keeping an eye on it. This vehicle continues to move around the area out here. Van Nuys is where we are. We have not left the Van Nuys proper area. Side streets, major intersections, all of it. We have been basically touring the area. That vehicle continues to drive at high speeds, very dangerous for the public. And of course, LAPD still concerned. They're coming out on Sepulveda right there, or Van Owen. Why do I keep missing the Van Owen? But at any rate, making his move right there once again. Now, officers definitely concerned about the public safety. That is their biggest concern, that safety of the person behind that wheel. Believe it or not, they do care about his safety as well, or hers. We're not having any kind of confirmation. But again, you can see that vehicle moving around 60 miles an hour, busy streets out here in the morning. Now we're back on to Kester, and that's what we've been talking about. He's just basically making these big blocks through these neighborhoods and then joining on to these major roads out here in the Van Nuys area. Again, though, the vehicle continues. There's the LAPD helicopter. That's the guy calling out the streets, making sure that the officers on the ground know exactly where that suspect is.
So this guy...
It's actually very scary to watch. Right now we're going by the hospital, and I believe that it was where the area, or right in this area, is where apparently he dropped somebody off earlier on, making a turn. He's going to be behind these buildings right here. You know what?
So he lost him a little bit behind the buildings. So this person, apparently they're saying he had previously stolen whatever vehicle he was in before this one. He stole that vehicle. He got out and got into this vehicle. So they don't believe that this vehicle is stolen.
Not want any of the public to actually even come out or try and help.
But he's armed
in any type of way.
They believe he's armed, and also that there's somebody in the hospital supposedly too. ABC was saying there was somebody in the hospital. So, but then they also said they're not even sure exactly. Like, they haven't really confirmed a lot of the information. So we're just kind of waiting to see,
We don't know what the goal is. And again, wrong side of the road right there and on Kester, and just continuing to move along. This is really scary stuff. And again, a lot of these people...
Oh, look at that semi-truck, man.
Know what's going on.
All I could think is Final Destination.
We're just making blocks out here. We are just literally making blocks in this neighborhood. Is this person trying to get somebody's attention?
That's crazy. He didn't even pause. He didn't even tap the brake or anything. Or I guess he did tap the brake.
What
is this guy on, yo? What the hell? Adrenaline. Maybe adrenaline, drugs, medication. The Epstein files in his trunk. What the? This is Sherman Way and Kester Avenue in Los Angeles.
Well, they have policies down there, and safety right now is one of LAPD's. That's like top of the list for these guys. A lot of traffic right here. Kind of curious what he's going to try to do. Officers, to keep up with this person at driving at those erratic speeds, you just got to figure he's backing up. He's going to be cutting through the Rite Aid or whatever that is, right? Walgreens. But officers are not going to they're not going to match that energy, because they're going to have to keep up and be safe at the same time. When they can, they will. Are they nearby? Most definitely. If this thing comes to an end somehow, officers will instantly appear. I can almost guarantee that. What the purpose is, my goodness, I just couldn't even begin to figure out or wonder what they're doing. Last time he took this street right here. Let's see if he does it again. It does look like we're basically taking that same street again. So I believe this is going to be Vos. and we're just making our way. We're on Vesper.
Yes,
we're on
yes,
Vesper, and Vos was the cross street. So, anyways, continuing on again, 75 miles an hour, residential neighborhood. I hope there's no pets out there. I hope there's no people out there. Coming back up to another major, that's going to be Van Owen, and basically just making these blocks out here. You'd think, well, maybe officers could put the spike strips out or something like that. Not at 70 miles an hour, not with an armed suspect behind the wheel. And again, what if that driver sees those officers? What if that driver tries to target an officer? They just don't want to set up for that type of situation. But as he continues making his way by that dairy right here, this little drive-through dairy off of Kester, we see the people standing out there. We see the cell phones out there. Hopefully nobody tries to get any closer to the vehicle. But again, this chase just continues out here in the Van Nuys area. That vehicle moving along at high speeds. Thank goodness he hasn't hit anybody. But the longer this goes, those odds, they're just going to get higher and higher.
I wonder if he's on the phone talking to anybody. Call his mama. What's going on with that? Stolen vehicle and somebody in the hospital allegedly. I don't know, was it a domestic situation? Armed? Driving super erratic and crazy. The cops were actually on his tail before, and then they backed off and kind of just disengaged. I guess they're tracking mode right now. And he's still he hasn't slowed down. Even when the cops backed off of him, he hasn't slowed down.
Okay.
Wrong side of the road. Look at this shit. I think it's the wrong side of the road. Oh, I don't know. Maybe he's on the right side. I can't even tell. This guy's been twirling so much I can't even spin it and shit. What kind of car is that, too? That looks like... Is that it's a Ford? No. I don't know what that is. BMW?
Well, that's right.
Look at he's going to get into an accident,
I was wondering exactly what hospital they kept talking about. There's many in this area. I just got solid information, that it's Valley Presbyterian. So apparently it started at Valley Presbyterian Hospital.
It started at the hospital?
And whoever this person dropped off at the hospital, unknown if they're injured, unknown what the circumstances are, but that was the person that said, the driver inside that vehicle, armed and dangerous. Multiple guns is actually the word that they use, not just one.
Multiple guns.
And so that was the reason why LAPD got behind him or was trying to stop this vehicle. But you can see that erratic driving. And of course, you factor in the fact that this person may be armed or probably is armed. And whatever the reasons are, this just makes a very, very dangerous situation for the public. LAPD, they're doing what they can to kind of keep everybody alert about what's going on. And you are correct. He stays in we're basically in that same neighborhood. We have not left Van Nuys proper since this pursuit is started, and it just continues on out there. You can see that vehicle making those wide turns. He's been very, very lucky with traffic, except for that one time that you mentioned where he actually had to back up to get to a parking lot, because it seems like this person is playing this game of playing this game of I got to keep this car moving or there's going to be a problem, because we have yet to see this vehicle actually stop. It's
look how close.
Moving. It's at high speeds, not so high speeds, wrong side
of the road. That's crazy. Look at this shit.
Imagine it's your loved one is driving along on the road right there on Van Owen, and then all of a sudden you've got this car barreling down double the speed limit heading right for him.
Oh, he slid a little bit.
These are dangerous situations. They are not cool at all. And of course, LAPD, they're doing what they can. But what can you do? You can't pit this guy because you can't get your vehicles close enough and those high speeds. You can't get in front of him because this person possibly armed, and this erratic driving, who knows? Maybe he's going to see that officer with the spike strips and then maybe target that person. So, this is one of those ones where, the policy basically is to back off. They have. The driving hasn't changed. The erraticness hasn't changed. The danger limit actually seemed to have gotten worse. So they are doing what they can right now. We're keeping an eye on it as well. If you know somebody that's in the Van Nuys area, I would at least try.
Wow.
Look at this. Look at
this dude is like sporadic, crazy.
Yeah.
Methed out. Fear and Loathing, Las Vegas, driving type of shit, acid shit. What the hell?
And there's some irony there too. That's the DMV is like literally right there at that corner. But at any rate, this vehicle continues on, and I don't want to take my eyes off of the car, and we move by so quickly. But do you see all those people as we zip by, standing on the sidewalks, and they have their cell phones out? So it's almost like maybe it's the attention, but I've yet to really actually see that. We've had these discussions with people in the past about why people run. And, the 15 minutes of fame theory, really, I have yet to hear somebody say, that's the reason why I ran. There's a dead end, and this is where it's going to get a little spicy because you've got officers right there as well.
What chases come to end. He's going to hit. He's not stopping. He doesn't give a shit.
Okay. All right.
I really think he would have hit the cop car if he had to.
I just was afraid that he was going to ram a vehicle or put an officer in a spot. Okay. So, but
GTA, Gran Turismo, Need for Speed. Holy crap! Okay.
Yep.
Was that other game Driver? It's a game called Driver. Yeah, man, this is we haven't had a chase in a while that's been wild like this. That's why I just came on the second channel, because I don't want to use up a notification on the main. I was literally about to step out the house and I saw this. I was like, oh crap. So now they're saying he dropped somebody off at the hospital, I guess, and then went berserk. Who did he drop off at the hospital? Was he the person that injured that person in the hospital, or what? Was he like a courteous I don't know. I don't know what to think.
Idaho plates.
Idaho. Yo, Travis Decker? Nah.
Well,
that guy doesn't have a car. Oh, maybe he stole it. I don't know. That can't be Travis though. Cali. Well, that's not that far, I guess. I mean, nah. Can't be. Imagine, how wild would that be? Imagine. That's reaching though. It can't be. There was a mistaken identity. Travis Decker's the guy that killed his three daughters, and went on the run. Took him on a camping trip and killed him, and then went on. He's still been on the run. It doesn't seem like the person has any real plan either, because they've almost been doing circles. They're back on Kester again. Kester now and Van Owen. They've kind of just been circling around. What's the point of this? It's a nice car, though. That Buick looks nice, man. The cops back on him, tailing him again. Yeah, it's a kind of a tough choice, because do you back off or not? You think he's dead, Heather? Travis Decker? Oh, yeah, if you guys could help me out with the like button, I'd appreciate it on the second page. Thank you for coming through. And if you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe. I think some people don't realize I have a second page, or they forgot, or make sure you turn on all notifications. I've been posting a lot of videos here, so a lot of updates, news stories.
Slowing down?
He's actually slowing down.
He's slowing down. He's slowing down. I have a feeling he's running out of gas.
Ooh, is that it?
Yeah.
Look at this lady. Who's that, Mama? What was up with that lady so relaxed and calm, standing next in the middle of the road?
And the vehicle, it's a little Buick is what it is, and it also has Idaho plates. Now this is where my camera work is going to get a little. I'm going to have to stay a little bit wider, be a little bit more trigger happy for the zoom. Okay, the doors are opening, and hands are out.
That's it.
Okay, so that's definitely a plus. And it seems like this driver complying, or actually kind of knows what the drill is. Wasn't even really waiting for the officers to make those calls. I'm venturing to say that car gave up before the driver did. Getting out.
You better watch out. What are you reaching for?
Yeah, we don't.
Didn't he just do something like this or something like that?
Getting a little closer there, you can see that person basically knows the drill. I would venture to say those officers are probably not that fast in the, hands where you can see them walk back towards us. but definitely making
Nice
those
shoes, though. I
moves
like the
right
shoes.
now. Doesn't seem to have anything on his person, but definitely now starting to follow those directions. You know, this is probably the best
Send the
ending
canines.
that we could have hoped for, is that vehicle just kind of ran out of gas right there. Of course, he doesn't have the cuffs on as
Looks like
of
he
yet.
tossed
But
something on the floor,
again,
too.
you've got a lot
I
of
don't know
people
what.
out here, like you mentioned. I'm going to take my eyes off the
Something on
suspect
the
for
floor
just
right
a
there.
moment. That's what you were talking
And look at
about.
that.
All
Yeah,
these
these people
folks,
here.
they kind of knew this car was
TikTok.
coming around the corner. Has
They're
been
waiting
in
for
the
him.
neighborhood all morning, and so they were out here getting the video that they can. But it's all coming to an end right there. That person doing the asphalt angel, as we would call it, and so far it has been
Hands hanging out,
a calm
off, cheeks
ending
out.
to a very crazy pursuit. And you got to hand it to these officers as well. You know, anybody that's ever been in that type of situation, you know, these are officers. These are people. These are human beings. And believe me, they have adrenaline rushes. They get tunnel vision. They have everything that you and I might have in those type of high-stress situations. And to keep it together like that and to follow the rules and
I never understood that, the whole thing for guys that so they'll pull their pants down around their ass cheeks, and so it's like, do they like the sensation of having their ass cheeks hanging out? So like the waist, the strap is tightened around the cup, like right under their cheeks, and so their cheeks are just hanging, flapping out in the air. Like I never understood why would you like that feeling? Strange, yo. See, and it's like a conscious effort too to have to, like, what is it? He has like black boxers on or something, and then I don't even know. I can't tell. So gonna search the car and see if there's any guns.
right.
Yeah, I think the guy ran out of gas too. Yeah, because I can't believe how it just all of a sudden he just stopped like that. He seemed very committed to the.
Definitely.
Even though he was just going in circles.
And
He's limping too. He's kind of limping a little bit. Chris, I never thought about it that deeply. There he is. What the hell is wrong with you, man? What are you thinking? What crosses your mind? What's in your head when this is happening?
Copy all. Still live on KCAL. And if we're still up on YouTube, just letting you guys know that they might be doing a
Sound the DJ horn.
test. You see that officer with the bag right there? So if they bag his hands, that might be what they're doing. I don't know. Maybe it's just an evidence bag. Who the heck knows?
Yeah, girl, you got it on TikTok.
At any rate, you got officers down there. They're trying to figure out who's going to frisk him, what car he's going to go into, all that other officer stuff. Yeah. Well, no, the other officers are touching his hand, so I don't think they're going to be doing gunshot residue. Nope, it's just going to be for evidence. So I really kind of wonder what this was all about, to be honest with you. It was interesting as all get out. This was basically, we were touring my teenage neighborhood. This is where I grew up, all this area, pretty much all the streets where he was going down. I had driven many, many times. But at any rate, enough of that. The pursuit came to an end. Thank goodness nobody was hurt. I also found it interesting. It has Idaho plates on that vehicle. Wonder if it's a rental or maybe this
like
person
Mel.
is from Idaho.
Kind of does.
Who knows?
Oh, man.
But at any
His
rate,
hair
they
curled
are
up, curls.
taking this guy into custody on Van Owen near Cedros.
Oh,
And
shit.
clearly, you know, he's not combative, but he's definitely talkative. So
Yeah.
I just
Fine,
kind
got
of
an
curious what this
attitude.
was all about. Hey, thank you guys for joining us on this chase. Glad we could give it to you.
All right. Yeah, we got something. It doesn't fulfill my chase. It doesn't get me excited like the chasers used to get me excited. But
To
something.
develop similar facilities.
Oh, shit.
Over the weekend, lawmakers visited Alligator Alley amid concerns
Alcatraz.
about conditions. Republicans described it as clean, safe, and well run, but Democrats had a different take.
were packed into cages like sardines, 8 cages per tent, 32 to a cage. The temperature, I brought a thermometer, was just at the threshold of the so-called air-conditioned tent, was 83 degrees.
Damn.
Nome says she expects to make announcements on the other 5 locations.
All right. So Fox is still out there a little bit. We got a little bit of the video, but yeah, they're arresting him. I wonder if the guy actually had guns on him. A bunch of people with cameras, taking pictures, video, maybe streaming. Even the media's out there. Some of the media, somebody with a camera out there, TV camera.
Copy all. Woo!
Best chase in 2025.
Skybox, Simon Test. Should we go
That's
to
not good.
Arupa
That's
now
the best
for
chase
the
in
vehicle hanging off the side?
Ooh, vehicle hanging off what?
Los Angeles Mel just wilds out. Yo, waha.
Maybe this is
Got
like
it.
me in another dimension or
All
something.
right.
A wild out criminal.
Was that a Melissa
police
text
chases.
or was that a? It
Maybe
was
that's
a
why I
Melissa
have an
text.
affinity for
I'm
chases.
going to give you an address. It's off of White Oak in Encino.
Maybe in another life.
I don't know
was
exactly where,
pursuits
though.
and stuff.
4757. Yeah, it's going to be very close. We are done here.
All right.
There you go.
Let me
Oh,
just
you don't
check
have
real
the box.
quick.
There you go.
I think we're good for today so far. There's still a lot of the Epstein stuff going on, conversations happening. I've been saving it because in case something big happens, I'll come out or I'll come on later and talk about it. There's a couple of things. I don't think anything really major yet to like jump on, but
One more DJ horn for my dogs.
hey! Oh, I hit the wrong button. Cosplay Grok. Apparently with Grok 2, they added a female to Grok. So a lot of the guys now are getting very excited. They're saying Grok adds a new companion. It's the AI chat thing. Let's see what they got here. They got this chick over here. Oh my god. This is Grok? Oh, there's no audio. AI companion Annie. So a lot of the guys are happy, excited, I guess. Oh, everything updated. Website is functional. Perfect.
Copy. Thank you. Got it. Simon Desk. 4757 White Oak. We are 2 minutes away.
All right, I guess I'm going to call it. I need to go to the store. I got to stop by the fish store, refill on some water, take a look at what they got there, and pick up the baby in a little while too. But I'll be around after that. It's been storming and raining here. A lot of places have been storming and raining. I'm in Florida, South Florida. So it's been thundering. Right now it's just cloudy, but it was thundering a little bit ago. It's supposed to be like that all week. So once I get those things done, I'll be around the house. Probably try to do a little gardening later. And we'll see what pops up. But we haven't really had a chase in a while, honestly. I'm surprised this even lasted as long as it did.
A dabble, do you?
Very lucky nobody was hurt, nobody killed. Amazing. I don't know how. Elvis, don't call it, Mel. Don't do it. No rain in Delray? Really? Delray Beach. Okay. You're dating Annie?
We're not there yet. All right,
Elon
the
freaky.
tower is telling us to keep moving. Don't worry about it. We're going to come back. There's some aircraft on approach. After that, we will be back looking. But that is the house, and we know that's the house. Don't freak out. We're coming back. Just give us a minute.
Aircraft on approach. All right, guys. Yeah, we'll catch you later. Elvis Go, welcome back. Yeah, I remember seeing you before. Welcome back. I hope you're subscribed to both channels. Check out the email list too, guys. If you want to sign up to the email subscriber list, I just send out a notification when I go live. The emails are going in promotion. I've been trying to tweak the emails to hopefully get it into primary on Gmail, but so far, no luck. So if you get the email in promotion, just drag it over to primary, and it should stay there. The following emails after that should stay in your primary. That at least works.
All right, apparently there's some broken windows in the back of this home. I don't know what side is the back, and I don't know. So let's just kind of like park and look at all the windows. I don't know. I mean, somebody must have gotten the shot. So let's see if we can find it. Because I can't see anybody getting it. Like, if that's the back, I mean, how are you going to get that?
What happened?
There's a sliding glass door that's not broken. Is that a broken sliding glass door? No. No, it's not.
Call for a robbery?
Is that a broken sliding glass door? No, it's not. I like all the windows. It's a very beautiful home.
Yeah, it is.
It's a shame. Not a broken window? Nope. Maybe it's over here. That would be me, more irritable. Let's see, maybe the pool house? Nope.
I don't know what this is about. And
maybe right there. I would venture to say that's the broken window. There we go. Of course, the last one. But it's okay. At least we found it. Skyvox, Simon Des, there's your broken window. Broken window. I think it's a broken window. Maybe it's not a broken window.
oh shit!
Maybe
It's
they
just
already
closed.
replaced it.
I
Oh,
don't
it
know
is.
why we're-
Is it not there? Okay. Yes, cortisol. I don't like my cortisol.
I guess a burglary. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna head out, guys. I love you. Bye. Bloop, 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 bloop. Catch you later. Adios. If you want to watch them, Stu, it's a Fox 11 on YouTube. Fox 11 Los Angeles on YouTube, right? Bye. Bloop, 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 bloop. It's just clean. The house, everything is clean and remodeled. The burglar is cleaned up and everything. Oh, look, there's people there. Cops.